Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. So we like to take a spin around the running back room and see what's happening with certain backfields around the league. And then there are a lot of questions about certain players heading into the fantasy playoffs in Week 15, starting with the situation in New Orleans, where Alvin Kamara has obviously been one of the best running backs all season. He's put to bed any idea about maybe some people thinking he's too old. I don't know who would do that. But obviously he's having a fantastic season. However, he comes into Week 15 having not scored a touchdown since Week 6. He's most likely not going to have a starting quarterback in Derek Carr. He's taking on a very good Washington run defense that has been good for the most part against opposing backfields all season long. Robert, he does do well in the passing game, as we know, at least 4 catches in 10 games in a row. But given the environment that he's dealing with right now, without the quarterback, without scoring touchdowns, is Alvin Kamara safe heading into Week 15?
I think he is. I think he is safe. You know, he's the ultimate professional, and the Saints are going to be leaning on him still, even though their season hasn't gone the way that they hoped it would go this year, and obviously with Derek Carr being out. But you mentioned it, Jamey. You know, he may not be as productive on the ground as he has been earlier in the year, but in the passing game, he's going to be a viable option, and I think even more so with the backup quarterbacks, Jake Haener, particularly, you know, playing in this game. He's going to be a security blanket type player for the running back. A lot of check downs, a lot of swing routes, a lot of flat routes there to try to get him in spaces. So I still think he's safe for the fantasy playoffs, and I need him to be safe because I got him on my roster.
Well, I think like all that talk about his role in the passing game really signifies the split. In a non-PPR league where catches aren't worth anything, he's a number 2 running back, and I do feel just a little bit queasy about him. In a full PPR league, though, I think he's going to catch 5 or 6 passes minimum. And so he remains a must-start number 1 running back for me in full PPR.
My only concern, aside from the touchdowns, because we saw Kendre Miller get a touchdown last week, is if they're getting blown out in this game, and Washington has shown they have that ability to blow out teams that are obviously inferior, could we see a lot more Kendre Miller? Could they pull back the reins on Alvin Kamara a little bit? You know, just knowing that they gave him the contract extension and the fact that he's done such wonderful things for them. I'm just a little queasy about him for this week. Clearly, you're not benching him, but you see, this is the lowest I've had Alvin Kamara ranked in a very long time, outside the top 12. So I do think even in PPR, where he's been a lot of times in this recent stretch without scoring touchdowns, around 12 PPR points per game, a lot of times around 15 points as well. If he hits that 12 number, he's more of a number 2 running back this week. So I'm just a little bit concerned about him taking on this Washington defense. Again, you're not sitting him, but might have some better options. Let's talk about the Seattle backfield, because last week we'll go to the Dallas backfield first. So, Robert, we've seen Rico Dowdle be fantastic the last 2 weeks and finally acting like a workhorse running back, which we've been waiting for all season long. So he's got back-to-back games with at least 112 rushing yards. Are we looking at Rico Dowdle now as a must-start running back heading into Week 15 against Carolina?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a bona fide RB2 back, you know, this week, and finally the Cowboys are giving him the opportunity to be, you know, RB1 for their football team. You know, he's had some sparks throughout the season, but finally finding some consistency. I think he's a starter this week.
I mean, he's definitely a starter. The problem with calling a guy like this a must start is that we haven't had that many running back injuries at the top. And so if you had 2 top 15 guys, then you might not be able to start Rico Dowdle, but definitely a top 20 guy. I think is the highest I've had him ranked. And this Carolina defense, while it's been improved recently, still struggling a lot against the run. So it should be another good day for Dowdle.
I'll be honest, like I struggle with Dowdle versus Kamara, you know, just based on, again, what the circumstances are, who the matchups are for both of these guys, what he's been able to accomplish the last couple of games. Now, granted, Dowdle only's got 1 touchdown in his last 2 games, while Alvin Kamara hasn't been finding the end zone. So in non-PPR, I would start Dowdle over Alvin Kamara. But just looking at the circumstances, I think that's how far Dowdle has come. And again, that's the concerns I have for Alvin Kamara heading into this Week 15 game. All right, let's talk about Seattle, where there are no concerns if Ken Walker is out. Zach Charbonnet was an absolute monster last week, over 35 PPR points with what he did, 193 total yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 catches. Robert, you're obviously familiar with the Seattle team. Ken Walker dealing with this calf injury. What's your assessment of the Seattle backfield if Walker does return? Do we see Walker step back into the lead role, or has Charbonnet done enough that he is now the guy that they may lean on, and maybe Walker is more of the supplementary option?
If Walker's back and he's, you know, 85%, he's going to play. He's going to start. He'll still be the number 1 back in the backfield for Seattle. But, you know, we could see a shift, and I think we will see a shift as far as the workload is concerned if Kenneth Walker III is back, because of the way Zach Charbonnet has played here since the bye week for Seattle, really. He's going to get a good chunk of the carries now and take a little bit of the I think, load away from Kenneth Walker III. And so if you've got Charbonnet, I think he's a good flex option this week.
Yeah, we'd kind of gotten to the point to where he viewed Ken Walker as a must-start top 12 running back. And if he's back this week, he's not going to be there. He's going to be behind Alvin Kamara in full PPR. He might be behind Rico Dowdle. But for me, he still will be ahead of Zach Charbonnet. The real risk for Walker is that Zach Charbonnet is not taking a series here or there away from him, but that he's maybe taking away the short yardage work, that he's maybe taking away the passing game work. Those are two areas where Charbonnet has been better than Ken Walker. He's a little bit better at just going forward and getting 1 or 2 yards when you really need it, whereas Walker's the better home run hitter. I would still rank Walker ahead of Charbonnet. I agree with Robert that Charbonnet would be a good flex.
I just would like to see, and I think probably a lot of people would agree if you're in the Zach Charbonnet camp, and if you handcuff the two guys, let Ken Walker get healthy. They are right now in playoff contention. And let Zach Charbonnet go. 3 starts so far this season without Ken Walker, 17.9 PPR points or more in each of those games. So he's been a stud when Ken Walker has missed time. Let him play. Let Walker get healed up. All right, Robert, we got the situation in Kansas City where Isiah Pacheco is now going back for his 3rd game after coming back from the broken fibula, but he hasn't looked great in the first 2 games. This is an interesting matchup against the Cleveland run defense that allows a lot of rushing touchdowns. What we saw last week for him against the Chargers in terms of Pacheco, 16 total touches, including 2 catches. Is now the time for Pacheco to get going and for fantasy managers to trust him? Or do you think we need to wait at least 1 more week and see it happen before we can put him back in our lineups?
No, I think this week is a good opportunity. And Heath called this a long time ago. I mean, guys, he said, when guys are coming back from broken leg, they don't always look the same, especially right away when they get back. And so this is going to be a process for Isiah Pacheco, but I think this week is a good opportunity for things to open up for him.
Really interesting in Kansas City, not just since Pacheco came back. The first 10 weeks of the season, this team had a 45% rush rate, which is above average, right in the middle of the pack, but above average. The last 4 weeks of the season, they've got a 33.3% rush rate, the 4th lowest rush rate in the NFL. And that kind of coincides with some injuries they've had on the defensive side of the ball. They were really a very elite defense the first 10 weeks of the season. They have not been that the last month. The way Jameis Winston's been slinging the football around, I'm not sure the Chiefs are going to have the luxury to run the ball a lot against the Browns. I think Pacheco needs a touchdown. He is more of a flex than an RB2 for me this week.
Just a very fascinating game because you also have the revenge game factor for Kareem Hunt, who spent a lot of time in Cleveland as well. So we'll see if they give him the opportunity to fall into the end zone. But yes, it would be nice to see Isiah Pacheco score. I do think flex is the safest way to view him, but this could be the breakout game that we've been waiting for. All right, let's answer one of your questions here before we take a break. And again, we'll have a lot of your questions coming up at the end of the show, so keep them coming to us using the hashtag AskFFT. Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr., or Bucky Irving, assuming that he plays. So Heath, which of this trio do you like the best?
It's Pollard for me, even if Bucky is back.
Robert?
I like Brian Robinson Jr. this week.
Brian Robinson Jr. is actually our start of the week for this week, so I like him slightly better than Tony Pollard, but I do like both. Bucky Irving would be great if he's back, but who knows how healthy that back injury is, and as we saw last week, unable to finish the game, so let's maybe give him some time to get healthy, and we lean on Rachaad White for fantasy managers relying on him. All right, we're going to take a break right now. We come back. It's everybody's favorite game, start, bench, cut. That's next on FFT.